pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. We have some meeting minutes to approve from our 2015, or April 25th, 2016 regularly scheduled council meeting minutes. If there isn't any additions or corrections, I need a motion to have those approved.
I'll make that motion.
Motion on the floor by Donnie,
I'll second it.
second by Stephanie. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Agenda this evening. Carrie, do you know of anything we need to add or subtract for the agenda? Or is
There should be no additions or subtractions.
Okay.
Make
If
a
not,
motion to approve tonight's agenda as listed.
motion on the floor by Mike, can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Gina, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. First item we had was pertaining to our rental ordinance. We just had a public hearing at 6 o'clock. We didn't have any landlords or concerned residents show up for that hearing. Council just had a little discussion on it. There will be a resolution, I believe, coming forward at our next council meeting, adopting that ordinance. So if anybody in the community has any questions or concerns about the ordinance, you can feel free to get a hold of us here at City Hall and we'll kind of explain to you what's going on. So anybody have anything else to add to that? Our Board of Appeals and Adjustments has been working on a variance permit application from the Hammonds. You guys' address, let's see, where are you at here? 312 Ronald Avenue,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Was a fence variance. We ended up meeting the other night and talking about some of the restrictions. Have these went over any of these with you? Has anybody talked to you about this?
No, nobody.
Okay, did you get this sheet?
No, I did not.
Thanks, Debbie. Is that one of the concerned residents who were adjacent to your property is not here this evening. We did not have a chance to talk to them either, as far as I am aware of. We met as a board and felt that these were some of the things that we had talked about
Okay.
at our last meeting. Some of them I don't know if we got into or not, but these are the things, the conditions that we would put on the fence if you decide you want to go through with it.
So the east section of fence would be 4 feet? Oh, from the property line. Why couldn't that be a little bit closer? Because, I mean, I could fit a mower, a push mower.
Well, you may have a push mower, and what we have to think about is other people who someday you may not own your house, or the neighbor might not own his. So we want at least 4 feet in there to try and maintain that property.
So you can get a riding lawnmower in there also, with a bigger deck.
It just, you know, it seems like we're giving up a lot of space on our property just to have a fence. And we want to have the fence, but I was thinking, last time we talked at most, you know, we were talking 3 feet.
Well, there was a couple different dimensions that came out of that last meeting. And we felt that 4 feet would be probably a good buffer between you and your
Fence and the property line.
Yeah.
And 32 feet from industrial park, what is that? Is it, when we walked up there and we all walked, and I think I talked to you, you said that post would have probably been okay, but now we're gonna go with 32 feet.
Yeah, the board that night decided to stay
I mean, I thought the code.
in line with the fence that is kinda in between the garage and
You know, I understand it, I'm looking at it.
He's got his map though.
I drove around the neighborhood and.
Why don't you come up here?
Okay.
Look at the map.
I thought he had a map, I don't think he does.
Um,
Can you guys separate the next little bit?
I drove around town just on my way over here, like, probably about, took about 10 minutes. And I ran into 211 Edward Street, had a 600-foot section of 6-foot tall wood fence up there. 106 3rd Avenue had probably about 200 feet of 6-foot tall wood fence on their property line. These are all on the property line, most likely. 116 Edward Street, 6-foot tall wood fence, that was about 300 feet of it. 112 Edward Street, 6-foot tall wood fence. 309 Robert Street, which is kind of behind the assisted living place. That's the biggest fence in town, and that's 6-foot tall wood fence. 313 Robert Street, 6-foot tall wood fence. That was pretty large. I mean, these are all within 5 blocks of my house. 308, most of them are, I think. 308 Peter Street, 6-foot tall wood fence. Pretty
How old
decent.
are some of these?
And most of these are actually quite new. I mean,
They haven't been new in the last 10 years. The only one that I know of that we permit, and I wish, Don, did we give out any other than the gal with the daycare? One of the 6-foot high fence. That's the only one I remember.
Edmund Street, I know, what's his name, that has the computer store in Little Falls.
there's a gobble of them. I mean, there's 4 more.
We did on the lumberyard, but that was on a, that was a conditional use permit because of,
Yep, the property, adjacent
of
property.
being,
Yep.
business on one side and residence on the other,
Yeah,
so that's a
one is
6-foot
up
tall.
there. Yeah.
Tallberg.
No,
Tall Berg.
Bert, Tallberg.
Jim,
Right, Cam.
Jim, yeah, Jim,
Jim.
the
Mechanic Apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 105 Main Street, 6-foot tall wood fence. 119 2nd Street Avenue, 6-foot tall wood fence. 4th Avenue, 6-foot tall wood fence. These are all like really big fences that I don't see, and a lot of them they're not 10 years old. I mean, there's a lot of these are way newer than 10 years old. You know, I just don't.
Let
I don't
me
get it.
ask you this question.
Yeah.
How many of those have their buildings as close as you and your neighbor do?
Every one of them. Most of them are closer. I mean, if
So
you
20 feet, basically, you guys look like you're about, what are you from your side property line? 10 feet?
According to this, he's 23 feet off the house is 23 feet off the line, property line.
Okay.
I say that every
There's
one of
those
these
is what?
Frisabillas is off their property line.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
garage
okay.
is probably, I would say the garage is at least 12 feet away from the property line. Maybe
It looked
14.
like it was, yeah, it looked like it was 10, 12 feet.
I mean, this is the gobba fences, and you know, honestly, I didn't even really try, and then there's a bunch of metal fences that I didn't even look at. You know, I mean, I didn't even write down because these were just right there in front of me, you know.
The other problem we have is in most of those, if the neighbors all said yes, the fence
Yes.
got to go in.
Yes.
Your neighbor has said no, that he does not want a fence
That's
there.
why we have that's why we're having the variance hearing here.
Okay, I mean, is the fence okay to have if it being metal or whatever?
Chain link.
I mean, chain link, is that been okay?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're.
Right here, right
yeah.
here's what, you know.
Okay.
The conditions are gonna be the fence will be made of chain link fence. Cannot be no higher than 6 feet.
Okay, so it could be 6 feet.
The portion of the fence along the east edge of the property will contain privacy slats. The remainder will not contain. So you only want the privacy slats between
You and your neighbor.
you and the neighbor. The rest of it will just be chain link.
Okay.
The north side of the fence will be parallel with Ronald Avenue and start at the southeast corner of the house, so right here.
Right.
So it comes off your house and then 4 feet from the property line
You
and
know,
then down.
right, when we go within 4 feet of the property line now, and then all of a sudden now we're on top of the garage right here, you know, we just shrunk that up by, gosh, I don't have a tape.
Well, you You're shrinking it here, not over here.
Yeah, but I'm losing 4 feet for.
No, once it gets on the back property line, it can be on the
Right
line.
on the line.
Right, okay. I'm looking at it backwards.
Yeah, here's your house. This is
Okay.
the garage. So
Okay.
you're coming on, this is facing north.
But when I come out the garage, if I'm going all the way back to 32 feet, which I mean, everybody was kind of like, oh, cool, you know, I mean, 10 feet looked okay to everybody, and I'm kind of shocked that 10 feet isn't okay now, because we're giving up so much space on the property line. Now all of a sudden I got a fence that's really narrow, you know, I mean, I
Next section will be south of the garage and 32 feet from Industrial Park
I
Road.
mean, everybody that looked at it thought that we should go right where the post was, you know?
Yeah, I know, we looked at that too, but the post was a road right of way, right?
It wasn't.
We
on-
think.
it
I
wasn't
know
on
it's
the
not
side,
for
but I would
sure.
assume it would have
Well,
been.
But it would be the road right of way.
The curb was our actual, from what I thought, and I measured off our property, I shot a laser from what I think would be, what I'm pretty sure is our property line to the curb, and 10 feet in is where, it's almost, I think we're, I wanna say our lot is, I don't have it written down, it's like 175 or something wide, and I think it's going off the curb, and it probably is a 10-foot right of way on that.
All of
At
them,
least.
everything on the
But-
city streets have a right of way.
You have a
But-
road right of way.
But I mean, that's a long ways, I mean, it's not like it would be a situation where you go up and you take a right-hand corner, being the fence is 75 feet off the corner, it's not gonna obstruct anybody's view of taking that corner onto, you know, whether they could take a right or whatever in front of our house. I mean, and it makes it, and another thing, you know, is, you know, that railroad tie retaining wall, you know, that I would love to be gone, but it makes it almost impossible to bring the fence up that, you know, I mean, can anybody imagine stepping a chain link fence up that wall? I mean, that makes it almost impossible.
Can be done.
Yeah, we thought it could be done too. You know, I don't know, these are the conditions that we have asked to put on it. I mean, to look at it, another thing too is, it's like Donnie kinda mentioned, you know, if we would've had 100% approval from all your neighbors,
Yeah.
you know, we wouldn't be having an issue, so we wanted to come up with something that is gonna work for both parties and will fit in well with the community and stuff as well too. You know, to be perfectly honest, you do have a couple of sections of fence out there that never did apply for a permit that are sticking up.
Though, you know, there's a reason, we had our hot tub room in there, and yeah, the one that's off the corner between the garage and the house, we get
Here.
crazy wind in here.
That's besides the point, I'm not going with why you need it or whatever, I'm just saying, you know, if we really wanted to be stern about this, the city could have made you take those fences down, you didn't have a permit to put them on.
Right.
So, we're trying to come up with something that, you know, is gonna work for everybody.
Well, this is, you know, the variance hearing was, you know, that night. Then the Board of Appeals and Adjustment met again and came up with these stipulations, whether all agree or not agree, this is the stipulations that came out of that hearing or that
The other
board.
land, he hadn't seen any of this until now, has the other landowner then not seen anything either?
I don't know if Scott had gotten it, he's not.
I am unaware.
We met the other night and Jim Goering actually took the minutes and wrote everything down, and then we handed it all. Next day it would've went to Scotty, so.
I haven't personally seen this, and
Yeah, and I
Okay.
probably believe the neighbors didn't either, but that's here nor there.
Well,
A variance meeting was requested, the board met, they came up with the stipulations, this is the cut and dried deal.
it's in black and white.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have the option now to put the fence up as stated in the, you know,
Of
or,
course I'm going to, yeah.
You know.
I mean, I can, you know, I just wanted to speak my piece on that, but, yeah.
and that's what the that's what
And
the
I am
board
grateful.
meeting was for that night, so.
Yeah, I mean, we wanna make sure that, you know, it's gonna fit in well with the community and the neighbors are gonna be okay with it and everything too. And you did have everybody but the one neighbor, I believe,
Yeah.
that signed off on it, so kinda put us in a bad spot too, you know.
This is a crazy amount of work just for a fence, though. I
Yeah.
tell
Oh,
everybody.
yeah,
it
It's
is.
just,
And it doesn't matter
I
if
could've-
if it's a fence or if it's a garage or an outbuilding or whatever, you know,
Garage or something.
anytime we go into a variance type deal, you know, we have to follow the law, you know, and I know it's a long process, but it is law, we have to do it this way, so.
Yeah. Okay.
If all the neighbors would have agreed, it would have been a real easy thing for you to try and do, but.
Okay.
So the recommendation of the variance board has been here and listed, now the council
Council has to act on it.
has to act on it.
So we need a motion to approve or deny the variance.
I make a motion to approve the variance on the fence as stated by the Board of Appeals.
There's a motion on the floor by Mike, can we get a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Donnie, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with
Thank
everything.
you.
All right.
Take it easy. Good seeing you again.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shake all your hands. We spent a lot of time together. All right.
What time's up?
Yeah, it's late. This one's.
Next item on the agenda is our farmer's market update. Carrie, did Scott have anything there for us?
Yes, so, don't know if you all had a chance to see the flags. These are the flag banners that everybody, what we're thinking is two that say Pierz Farmers Market ahead, and then two of the regular ones, so one on each end of town, for the aheads, and then two at the farmers market, that just say the Pierz Farmers Market.
What location are you looking at?
We are in conversation with the church as of right now to use the front part of their parking lot.
St. Joseph's.
Right, yes, sorry, St. Joseph's Church.
There's many churches.
The church. That's, so hopefully, I think they meet tomorrow or Wednesday, and then they'll look at it and either approve or deny our request to utilize that space. What we're thinking is, every other Friday, with intentions of starting on May 20th, running from 2 to 6, on Friday afternoons.
How many of these banners were we talking about, Carrie, 2 or 3?
Just ordering 4.
4?
Yep.
Okay, 4.
Yep, and so it would be, what Scott and I had spoke about it was, and, we had some other feedback as well, would be $5 a week if people didn't wanna sign up for the season, otherwise it would be $50 for the season. Season would run May through October.
Okay. Were we thinking about doing any other advertising?
We are, Scott and I had gotten a quote from the Little Falls Radio to do, ads, run them, I think it was like the first 2 months, with the same Fridays that we do the farmer's market. So they would start the 20th, and then they would run through, I think July is what he had it
Can't you
quoted
check
for.
with the record as well?
We have not yet, but that is our intention, is to get one big ad out in the record for,
Yeah.
just letting people know, so.
I figured that's good circulation numbers.
Right. So the flags are gonna cost us about $160, is what we were price quoted out on, so. Froggy's gonna do the signs, yep.
They're just gonna be a banner type sign, right?
Right, they're like the big sales,
The steak
Jeannie up at
deals.
the coffee shop has them. So on the ones on the north and the south end of town, I spoke with Bob and we talked about just putting the stake in the ground. And then he would be able to mow right around that, so we could just drop the flags in them every time. And then the ones at the church, we would actually remove the stake each Friday.
That work out okay for you, Robert? Awesome. Do we need a motion to, I believe we do, to continue on with this and approve the sign purchases?
I make that motion.
There's a motion on the floor from Steph. Can we get a second? Second by Gina. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Item we have is our contract for collection and disposal. Solid waste, and I believe this is also recycling.
Yep.
Bob, you wanna come up and we'll kinda run through this quick? Sure. You and Steph are on the solid waste committee. I'll give give us kind of the highlights of the new contract, if there are any?
Basically, it's a 3-year contract starting November 1st of 2016. Everything in the contract stays the same except for the recycling charge
Okay.
that we pay Pierz Sanitation per month went from $2.90 per household to $3 per household per month.
Okay, so 10 cent.
10-cent increase on the recycling side, and the drive-by for garbage would stay the same.
Okay,
So, spoke with Jack and Lori, and they're happy with that arrangement, so.
okay.
So then we go up another 10 cents as of,
I think it's October is when we end, isn't it?
October 31st. is
Yeah,
the-
so
okay.
it would start November then, right?
November 1st. The next item on the agenda is the rate increase for what the city would charge the residents. We would propose a 10-cent increase on that as well.
Okay, just on the bags or?
Just for the recycling.
recycling.
drive-by.
Recycling, so that would go
Okay.
from $3 to $3.10.
Okay, yep,
So that 10-cent margin just gives the city a
getting
little
past
bit
them,
of
okay.
administration.
Okay. And this contract expires
October 31st, 2019.
2019.
And they're one of our better contractors that I work with. I mean, they're right on the ball, and if there's any problems, I call them, and they're right there. And Karen
Yeah.
can attest to that,
Yeah.
too. They're professional and do a great job, so.
Yeah,
I think the only thing Scott was waiting for in the contract was make sure that the years of the trucks and the weights are current, that they hadn't changed at all. But otherwise, that was the only thing he was waiting for.
okay. Okay, so we will need is there any question or comment? Contract?
They guarantee you, double your garbage back if you don't like it.
I bet.
That's the slogan.
Does it give you a feedback too? Double fee.
I make a motion that we renew the contract with Pierz Sanitation, till, what is it? 2019, of October 31st.
There's a motion on the floor by Mike to renew the contract with Pierz Sanitation. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Stephanie. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously.
Do we have to do anything on the
That's
rate
on the
increase?
rate.
Yeah, basically, this is kind of a sub-section of that same
Yeah.
item. It's a rate increase for recycling from $3 to $3.10, as of November 1st, 2016. We will need a motion to approve that rate increase.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion on the floor by Stephanie. Get a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Donnie. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Bobby O, is that all we had on, Pierz Sandy?
Correct.
Spring cleanup, just kind of a heads up, went really well.
Went really well. I think we had 51 appliances / electronics, maybe 10 tires, fair amount of scrap metal, which filled up one roll-off dumpster, and we get the weights back from Jack when he sends us a bill on the weights for the regular garbage. But
I would say he had pretty close to a full load.
yeah, we went from 8 to 10 this year instead of 9 to 11. I think that worked
Worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, worked out really well. Gina got her first taste of garbage.
Yeah.
It was cold.
You let her
It
rip
was
the money
cold.
pouch, didn't you?
Yeah. It was raining.
Well, thanks to everybody who was able to, show up and help with that, it's greatly appreciated. Snowmobile club meeting, Thursday, May 12th, 8 PM. What's going on
That's
with that?
actually a snowmobile club and four-wheeler club. They approached me, and then I've been in contact with Scott about the possibility of using our land that is just east of the gravel pit and trying to figure out a trail system to come into the
That old
campground
road
area.
right- That old road right away there.
Yep. And then, they'd like to meet on Thursday night and then talk about also then how they could hook that trail up to the snowmobile trail, over by Centennial Drive.
There is a designated trail we have marked there, right?
Well, there's a trail plan that Scott Headland has with SEH that we have, it's just a preliminary plan and there's grant money and all this and that, and this is,
But we marked a trail.
yeah.
It's a four-wheeler trail
Four-wheeler.
coming
That's
from
a
the sewer line
four-wheeler,
to.
okay.
The little
Lighters.
orange signs,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
he's talking about, that,
Yeah,
Or on the
that's
stop
stop
signs,
signs,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the four-wheeler thing.
that brings them up and over.
This meeting Thursday night would be just Public Works, Don and I, Bob,
Okay.
Scott, Saehr, and then the four-wheeler representatives and the snowmobile. I know I talked to Don today. and
Buckman, Pierz, and Snowmobile clubs, and then the four-wheeler club is Genoa, I think.
We thought be a good time to kind of lay out what is in the works, you know, or what is looked at. Not having Scott Headland here yet, you know,
Okay.
at some point, you know, once once we all get on board and we look, and I mean, this thing is
What's
maybe
the
4 or 5
object?
years old even, you
What's,
know.
what's the object, to try and get from 153rd over to the trail?
I believe
Is that
so.
kind of
Is
the-
that what they-
Yeah,
is that what they
they're
wanna
talking that the campers that come in and camp, okay, other than taking the highway or taking 39, well, not 39.
Park Ave.
Park Avenue in and out of town, they're talking, why can't we go out the back way, which there is no way right now, but over and then heading up north. I'm talking then jumping across 39 and then possibly going on the backside of Denny Rostine's, and I think Dave Saehr owns that land. Coming through and it'd come up by Bobby's shed up there by the city shop, jump over, follow that along, and then it would end up right back on Centennial Drive to hook up with a trail system. It would sort of give an extra loop for people to get through and around town, both winter and summer. Now, they're asking, Snowmobile Club and four-wheeler clubs are asking if we would allow it, and they're looking at doing most of the work, so it wouldn't be costing at this point the city anything. If they go in and take the trees down and everything else, so. It's more of an informational meeting just to find out for sure
What they're looking for?
what they're looking for, maybe what the city might have to offer. I did have Scott post it, so it is an open meeting. If anybody else, you know, on the council wants to come, it'll just matter.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to know, is if the entire council wanted to come, or if more than the two wanted to come, then he would post it, otherwise he's just gonna leave it.
Okay.
I'll be at work.
I would say if you guys just wanna meet with them and find out what's going on
Right.
or what's up.
Yeah, it's more informational and kind of looking and
Yeah.
kind of going back and forth with what.
At this point, it wouldn't pay to have Scott there until we know more what we're doing.
Okay.
So you do not need staff?
No,
We won't post it then.
well, not Scott, Saehr, we're talking.
Ed.
Scott?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need the engineer yet at this point.
Okay, next item on the agenda is, we got a couple of, well, we should schedule a workshop, and at that workshop, I know the park board would like to sit down with the city council, and we have a workshop. Is that a request with the seniors or senior center, or we could
The
put them
senior
both on?
board.
Okay, we could put
They
those both on.
requested that they have their meeting at 9 AM. That's, their board is meeting, they have a board meeting on the 16th at 9. They requested that we meet with their board at that time instead of setting a different time, since they will already all be here
What date?
next Monday.
It's gonna be very hard it's gonna be pretty hard to set up an actual
I won't be here.
workshop with everybody working during the day.
Right.
Um,
That was just the requested time, so we will have to figure out what works and present a time for
I
them.
mean, if I can certainly probably my work schedule around to try and meet with them if somebody else wants to be here too, but it's gonna be really hard to hold a city workshop with the council. With everybody
Yeah.
working days, it's gonna be
Right.
really tough to try and do that. I can meet with them if they wanna sit down and meet, and another council member, if somebody's available, we can certainly do that, but as far as an actual workshop, it's gonna be, how we pull that
It
off.
has to be done.
Yeah.
In the
It's gonna have to
afternoon,
be in the
evening.
afternoon or evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they want an
None of
actual
us
workshop,
can get here before 5 o'clock,
Right.
yeah, I just don't know.
and some of us can't get here at certain nights.
No, just, everybody.
I think
everybody works it.
the next step is just gonna be for you guys to propose a date and time, and we'll just have to go to them and say this is what we can do.
Well, let's set the workshop because the park board wants to meet with us anyway. We'll put them on the agenda. If they can make it, that's great. If they can't make it, can sit down individually with them, or a couple council members can sit down, see what's on their mind, or see what we can do, so.
What are you looking for, park board meeting then?
Scott was thinking the 12th, which would be this Thursday at 7 before the snowmobile meeting.
Are we gonna have
I
enough
won't
time
be
to
here, I'm
post
working
it?
evenings.
Rick from Park Board won't be able to come after this.
Let's push it back a week. That's pretty short notice.
Okay, that's fine, yeah, that was just the date.
Stuff, are you working that following week in evenings, or just schedule?
I think at days next week. So, it's next week.
6, 5?
I don't care, if I'm not working evenings, it doesn't matter, so whatever works. for
Nineteenth, I
everybody.
won't be here.
That's June.
No, wait.
Yeah, get over it.
Still, where are we now?
Are you looking at
You're-
Monday, Tuesday, you looking at the end of the week, what are you looking?
Well, why don't we back up, Mike, because you're usually here Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, I could be here, that Tuesday I'm here.
Let's shoot for Tuesday, May 17th. That way we have time for the posting and everything too.
What time are you looking at though?
Let's try for
6.
5, 6, whatever works for you guys. I'll work for.
What's working for everybody else that day?
Rick's got baseball.
Earlier for me.
We wouldn't be able to just.
5?
So,
Yeah.
But what if you,
League night.
what if you plan to meet with the senior centers at 5, or at, 5:30, and do the park board at 6?
That's fine, or 5 and
Let's try it.
5:30 or whatever.
You wanna do 5 and then do 5:30, that way it gives you a little bit of time to meet with them, and then you can do a 6 o'clock.
I'll do
with the park
5 and
board.
6, yeah, 5:30 and 6, whatever.
And I think there's some other things that I wanna go through on the workshop too, and, I'll have Scott take and add them to our agenda. We'll
With
get,
your, on a Tuesday with your park board, most of them
Oh,
are golf, most of them are
golf.
golfers.
Oh, yeah, men's
yeah,
league is
the
now.
men's
Go
league,
Bill.
yeah.
Golf league, yeah,
Yeah.
that ain't gonna work. That won't work at all.
No. Wednesday.
Mike leaves on Wednesdays.
Well,
or
Monday?
I leave at midnight Wednesday night.
Oh,
what about Monday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Let's do it Wednesday.
Wednesday the 18th,
Yeah,
still at 5?
yeah, let's go at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, earlier better. Gotta get a little nap
Sure.
And then we're gonna try to, you're gonna offer that to the,
I will,
Senior
we'll
center?
offer it to the senior center at 5 on that.
Yeah.
on
and
that.
If they
for some
can, if they
reason
can,
it
they can. If
absolutely-
not, then-
yeah,
If they can't, then
we'll-
we can
We'll
put
sit
6
down and
o'clock.
I'll try and figure something out. We
We'll
can-
have to figure something out. They're
Okay.
they
But if they-
don't wanna have to come back in, so that's the issue.
Right,
Well-
but if they don't wanna meet at 5 o'clock, are we just still gonna meet to start our workshop at 5?
Rick can't
Regardless.
be here from Park Board at 5
Cause you said you
o'clock.
have other stuff you wanna go over, Toby?
Yeah, why don't we start the workshop
just
at
start it at
5
5,
and
whether
then
or
the
not
park
they're
board
gonna be
comes
here.
in at 6.
Okay.
And we can do whatever we wanna do in the workshop meeting and
well, if they're
then.
playing at home, 6 would be close to being for Rick. I
It's
don't
a
know if they're away
Wednesday,
or not.
there's not a Wednesday night, they don't usually have.
Oh,
meetings.
yeah, so he'd be able to,
But
okay,
it'd be
perfect.
after practice, usually it's
Right.
only 5:45.
Yeah, so that'd be
Also,
fine,
we'll-
6 would
But
perfect.
that,
Yeah,
that will
6
work
would
for
work.
Park Board, yeah.
Yeah.
Start at 5, park board at 6.
Okay.
And then that'll just determine whether or
Yeah,
not they are
if
here,
they
you're
can't-
supposed to be at 5 either way.
Yeah, if they can't make it, I can sit down, meet with them and bring it back to the council or something too, or if there's another council.
Or
member
is it,
available.
yeah, if there's, even if there's a couple people that wanna meet with them.
Let's do that. HVAC system, City Hall here, our heating and cooling system. I think Bob got some estimates, from Thelen's Heating in Brainerd. I think he had a couple local guys looking at it too. Just had a chance to go through this a little bit, take a look at it. The heating and air conditioning, they have, yeah, if you wanna come up, Bob. They have it 11,750, and that's with the dual furnace and dual AC units. And I'm sure there's gonna be some ductwork modifications, things of that nature. They also have a air system, for makeup air into the senior center. Some of the problems we've been having is is they only have exhaust in there right now. What happens is, with that big of a fan exhausting air from the building, it's creating a negative pressure in here, which is sucking out the pilot lights and things of that nature. It's not good to have negative pressure in the building.
That's why we have the intense gas smell in here in the morning.
And it was again the other day.
Yeah, it's unavoidable, with negative pressure in here. So they actually have a makeup air system scheduled to go in, or proposed to go in, at a cost of $10,250. So,
And the heat and the air conditioning is $11,750.
so if we wanna do the whole project, yeah, talking, what are we talking here, 22,000?
Would we be responsible for the whole project?
That's part of the reason for a workshop meeting with the seniors.
Okay, that's right.
You know, to look at.
As of for right now, I think that, no matter what, I mean, at some point in time, we're gonna be forced to deal with it, whether I don't know what the plan is with the seniors, if they were gonna look at contributing some funds towards this or not. I haven't been aware of what's going on with those folks regarding this proposal, so,
And I don't know that anybody has approached them yet.
okay, well, like I said,
Bob,
I
have
mean,
you talked to anybody?
I did talk to him, that was a few months ago, I just mentioned
Okay.
that the problems we've been having and the need
Okay.
for a makeup air system. and
okay,
I just expressed to them.
they kinda understood that.
I just expressed
Just
that,
what we,
yeah, that's more than likely gonna be part of their kitchen equipment, not the city's responsibility as building owners.
okay.
That's up to the council.
Sure.
And we can take these separately too. I mean, this
Yeah,
is-
I mean, if we don't think we need to do the makeup air system this year, we can look at doing the heating and cooling this year, or vice versa. Or, you know, I'm sure the numbers are gonna change by next year, you know, how, I guess I don't know, how they're going. So.
We struggle greatly with the air conditioning.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to.
Well, and it's,
We struggle with the regulation of heat in the winter too.
Yeah.
I mean, either way you look at it, but.
and I think that, one, we should go ahead and start working on the heat and the air. I mean, it's only gonna get worse in here. I mean, how long of a project, how big of a, just the heating and cooling part of this, what does it take, Bob? Do you got any idea?
I never
It'll
talked
take
to
them
him
a few days. It'll take them a few days to get.
Strong
Big-
back, weak mind guys take the old furnace
I
off.
don't know how they're gonna get that out.
They're gonna saw that up
Yeah.
in pieces, that's
I'd say if it's like mine, they had to break mine up into pieces to get it out of my basement.
Oh, this one's huge.
Yeah,
It's a
I-
dinosaur.
Built a building around it.
The big old boiler I had, mine was Hanneken cement rings, they had to break it up in pieces to get it out of there, oh yeah.
Yeah, so.
They built them good then.
And then you got a basement.
You know,
Well, I guess
talking a couple furnaces and.
From my,
and AC, you're talking-
looking at it, and, you know, Toby, you and I come up here a lot too, it's not very comfortable, and it's
It was
gonna get
almost-
worse.
It hit almost 80 again last week in just those few short days that we had.
The biggest thing we'd be able to do is isolate this side of the building with one furnace, one AC unit. That side would be one AC, one unit furnace. And thermostats in each area.
We got about 2 to 4 tons.
Everything's right there.
Yeah.
For now, I think we should move ahead with just the heating and air conditioning and get that rolling, or awarded, or, and tell Thelen, you know, well, the air exchange is on
Be
hold
on
for,
until our next council meeting. at
till
least.
we find out something, or how we're gonna address paying,
Okay.
or what, I don't know. I mean, what's the rest of the council's take?
That's fine for now, in my opinion, unless you guys, decide you want to, do the whole thing at one time and just get it over with. Doesn't matter to me either way. Eventually, it all has to get done, so. However you want to do it's fine with me.
Well, my concern is I think the senior center has to be accountable for part of it. I don't know how much or all of it. I don't know how much money they have, but they have to realize that between $10,000 into a building because they are the ones using the heat or, you know, cooking and so forth. It's nothing that it belongs to the city. So whether or not they pay a fourth of it or whatever, so I would be, I guess with you, Mike, and until we meet with them, I don't think we should touch that part of it. So they know that it's just not a free ride, and we know that.
Well, we also have to look at, I mean, it's taxpayer money, and not everybody uses the senior center, you know, we have to be fair and juggle too, you know, it's.
Well, maybe you guys also, you know, have to realize the service that is putting out to our seniors in this community too, so I'm not saying they shouldn't or can't or would or wouldn't, I don't wanna get into that conversation here this evening, but I do want you guys to just take into consideration that this is more than just a few people using this facility, so.
I would make a motion that we go ahead and, accept and award the bid to Thelen, Heating and Roofing Incorporated out of Brainerd for the, heating and cooling system in the, City Hall building here.
That's on both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
Building in general, so at 11,750. There's a motion on the floor by Mike, can we get a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Donnie, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Just so we got this straight, let's do a motion to table the, exhaust system, makeup air system in the senior portion at $10,250. Can we get a motion on that?
I'd make that motion.
Motion on the floor by Mike.
I'll second.
Second by Donnie. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Thanks for looking
No,
at
you
that.
might as well stay at Snowmobile summary.
Just for your information there, I have nothing to comment.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob. Bob turned over some interesting snowfall facts from 2008-9 to 2015-16, just for your kind of own use, and just see how, kind of neat to see how the totals really vary from year to year, so just kind of a little FYI for the council.
Miles go with the depth of the snowfall.
Yeah.
We had a medium year this year then, 15, 16, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, 1,079 miles and 13 snow events and 23.5 inches of snow.
Yeah. Versus some years where we had, what, 60?
88 inches.
Yeah, wow.
So it's nice, we're able to keep our snow plow costs down.
For
one
sure.
year and go for a little while. It all averages out, doesn't it?
Averages out.
Building permits, Donnie, we got anything to?
Building permits, we have one that we are approving upon knowing the placement of the actual sign, and that is for Pioneer Elementary. They gave us a beautiful looking sign, but no one doesn't say where it's gonna go. So it's approved pending where that comes in. And then we have two of them that have been denied just because of the lack of information. One is 227 Edward Street South. We need to know where it's gonna be. We're just missing a bunch of information on it.
Okay.
And the other one is also a portable sign for the Pierz Commercial Club that's been tabled or denied for right now. So
Okay.
one to approve and the other two we don't have to add on.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the Pierz Pioneer Elementary sign.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion on the floor by Gina, can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mike, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
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 Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Bobo, would you have anything from your department?
Nothing further.
Thanks, Bob. Eric?
I don't either. I'll have my monthly report at the end of the month.
Okay, thanks. Daniel called, he wasn't gonna come, he said he didn't have anything. Scott, Carrie, did Scott have anything on?
The only thing that we had was that we mailed out 505 dog license reminder cards
Okay,
to the residents of Pierz so that people remember to license their dogs.
okay.
Is
very
it
good.
July first?
It will be July first this year, and then Scott and I agreed that it doesn't make sense that it's in the middle of the year. So we will be annually renewing them, on the first of January, but this license will be in effect until January first of 2018.
Okay.
So that way they get kind of like a year and a half
Year and a half,
out of this license.
Makes sense.
very good. Financial report, Linda, do we have anything going on?
Well, we have a checkbook balance of $696,449.98 as of, April 30th. And there are no CDs to renew, like I mentioned before, we got them all in pretty long-term ones.
Very good, Linda. We'll get a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion on the floor by Donnie. Get a
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. We have some bills to pay for the month.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Claims for the month, $177,611.18. Motion on the floor by Mike. To pay the bills. Get a second. Second by Gina. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Anybody else have anything else? If not, we're looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion on the floor by Gina to adjourn,
I'll second it.
second by Mike. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Thank you very much, everybody.
You didn't have anything to address the council, did you?
No, I was here for the farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna